Hey, T Sippers. It's the weekend. Whew. Okay, stop playing. What's poppin'? You made me hungry. Whew. Oh, baby, that live from earlier. Mm-mm. I'm listening to that man, that same man, give them laws. He sounds totally different from 2 weeks ago. He had a whole different type of aggression. I'm like, woo! Baby, when I looked at that, I'm like, what has toned him down? He was, he was as if Metcalf was one of his kinfolk. But after what we heard today, huh? Hey, Shelly, Shell. Hey, LP. After what we heard earlier today, hey, Vicky. His whole tone was different. Whole tone was different. You can tell he don't like that stand your ground. And you can tell they just really be trying to go after self-defense. But you know, like me, I'm like, them totally different. Stand your ground and self-defense in Texas is different, baby. So y'all can run with this, run with it like you want to. It's funny to me, cause baby, they trying to throw what is that, dust in our eyes, trying to play in our face. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. They don't like that stand your ground. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I can't remember who reminded me of it. That shooting at that Luby's some years back is when Stand Your Ground came into play. I remember that. I think it was in North Dallas, off of Midway. Yeah. And I used to go to that Luby's. But see, it had to been something that happened on the north side for them to put them laws like that into play. Again, it wasn't designed for us to use against them. But she was absolutely right. I remember that incident in Luby's. She was absolutely right. And then, you know, they got all, Lord, it's just always something. How many murders they done had in Memphis in 1 week? Y'all, huh? In 1 week. Lord have mercy. Oh my Lord. That just don't make no type of earthly sense. It's a lot going on, y'all. And they looked over on my boy Shadur. I ain't like that either. They trying to teach, they trying to blackball him because they don't like his daddy, Prime. Chief Davis in Memphis said, parents, get your children.
Help us. Parents, get your children. That was the C.J. Davis that came out of me. Get your children. If you want life and if you love your children, help them stay alive by paying attention to them, just like the mayor said. Either they will die to gun violence or they will end their lives in jail.
They finna put them away, or you gonna let them back out? Huh? What you gonna do, CJ?
We're appealing to the community to help us. Parents, get your children. That was the C.J. Davis that
she rolled her eyes at y'all parents.
Get your children.
Get your children.
If you want life and if you love your children,
get your children. Guys, we finna put them away. We finna start. Is that what she's saying? We finna start putting them away. Says at least 36 shots, 15 dead in 1 week. Huh? That's unheard of, man. That is wow. If that ain't a wow, I don't know what is.
We all know that violent crime is the biggest issue facing our city, but this week may have been one of the worst in recent memory. Tonight, Fox 13 is breaking down the shootings and the numbers to show why. I'm Daryl Green.
And I'm Darcy Thomas. Let's take you through some of these cases.
Hold on, y'all.
Late this afternoon, Fox 13 learned the 2 people shot and killed yesterday near Booker T. Washington High School were students at the school.
Oh, wow.
Facing our city, but this week may have been one of the worst in recent memory. Tonight, Fox 13 is breaking down the shootings and the numbers to show why. I'm Daryl Green.
And I'm Darcy Thomas. Let's take you through some of these cases. Late this afternoon, Fox 13 learned the 2 people shot and killed yesterday near Booker T. Washington High School were students at the school. The shootings around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon forced the school into lockdown and added to an already growing list of violent crime in Memphis over this past week.
And that violence continued overnight. Memphis police responded to 2 separate shootings in Orange Mound. Investigators say one man was critically injured on Saratoga Avenue, another killed on Ethel Street.
At least 6 people were shot, 4 killed in Frazier since Tuesday night.
And a deadly mass shooting at a candlelight vigil Saturday night left 1 man dead and 4 others injured, including a 14-year-old boy. Memphis police say it's time for the violence to end.
My career being on the job has been a lot of violence here in Memphis. You know, we need to curtail it.
Enough is enough in this city. It's time that the citizens know that this is not going to be tolerated.
We need your help. Community, we need your help. In order for us to solve this crime, the Memphis Police Department need you.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Fox 13 investigates went through our archives for the last 7 days. Since last Friday night through this morning, we found these 26 shootings reported in Memphis and Shelby County.
It represents 36 people shot, 15 of those people killed in 1 week's time. And it does not include other reports of shootings where no victims were found.
Fox 13 continues our live team coverage of this issue tonight. Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson is in South Memphis right now, getting reaction from a mentor to one of the students killed yesterday.
But first, Fox 13's Martin Staunton joins us live in Raleigh. Martin, you were there earlier to really take the concerns of the community to the mayor.
How long have I been talking about the crime?
Yes, I was, Darcy, and Chief C.J. Davis says that her department has investigated 28 homicides in April, and there are still 5 days left to go in this month. And she and both the mayor talked about the role that children are playing in all of this.
As I think about the last couple of weeks, we've seen far too much violence in our city, and it has been completely unacceptable, heartbreaking to see young people losing their lives senselessly.
In just the past week, a seemingly endless string of violence. At least 15 people killed and 20 more hurt in more than 24 shootings in Memphis and Shelby County. Many of the victims and alleged perpetrators, children.
These young people is somebody's son, it's somebody's nephew, somebody's cousin, it's some OG in the neighborhood who know these young folks that need to be speaking some life into them and changing the course of their trajectory.
Police Chief C.J. Davis said it's hard for most people to wrap their minds around the amount of gun violence right now.
We're appealing to the community to help us. Parents, get your children. That was the C.J. Davis that came out of me. Get your children. If you want life and if you love your children, help them stay alive by paying attention to them, just like the mayor said. Either they will die to gun violence or they will end their lives in jail.
Mayor Paul Young shared an idea of something simple parents can do to help.
For the parents, the guardians, if you see a young person walking out of your household with a hoodie on when it's hot outside, with a backpack on, and it's not a school day, you need to ask some questions. You need to check the backpack. You doing that check is gonna save their life.
And the mayor, chief, and other leaders here did more than just talk about the violence. They offered one possible solution. Coming up at 6, we're going to take a closer look at a bill that could soon become law that could actually help cut down on the businesses that give crime a place to fester. And you at home, could be compensated. We'll share those details coming up. Darcy?
Oh, now they want to pay?
Fox 13's Martin Staunton reporting live tonight. Thank you so much, Martin.
When they put the rest in peace sign.
That was the C.J. Davis that came out of me. Get your children.
Lady,
if you want life and if you love your children,
I'm going to be nice.
help them
Y'all get
stay
the lights
alive
up.
by paying
Come in,
attention
hitting
to
the
them,
like
just
button.
like the mayor said. Either they will die to gun violence or they will end their lives in jail.
Mayor Paul Young shared an idea of something simple parents can do to help.
For the parents, the guardians, if you see a young person walking out of your household with a hoodie on when it's hot outside, with a backpack on, and it's not a school day, you need to ask some questions. You need to check the backpack. You doing that check is gonna save their life.
And the mayor, chief, and other leaders
if it's hot and they got on the
did more
hoodie,
than just talk about the violence.
good.
They offered one possible solution. Coming up at 6, we're going to take a closer look at a bill that could soon become law that could actually help cut down on the businesses that give crime a place to fester. And you at home, could be compensated. We'll share those details.
They want y'all
coming
to
up.
snitch.
Darcy?
That is Fox 13's
They
Martin
gonna pay
Staunton
you to
reporting
be a
live tonight.
eye.
Thank you so much, Martin.
When they put the rest in peace sign behind his name and his picture. And all I could think about when he was a little boy coming in the barber shop, he used to come here all the time.
A South Memphis barber says this one hurts. That's Carlos Miles. He says from infancy, he mentored a 17-year-old who was shot to death yesterday near the intersection of South Lauderdale and Mississippi, very near Booker T. Washington High School. That teen, one of the 2 students shot and killed near the school yesterday. Let's go to Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson in South Memphis Live in search of solutions. Daniel, Miles is far from more than a barber here. He's looked up to as an authority figure in that area.
Yeah, Daryl, you know it, the people at home know it. The barbershop has been long looked at as the nucleus of neighborhoods in inner city areas. This barbershop is no different. You can see someone there getting their hair cut. Oftentimes, people in that chair, be they older or young people, they will confide and listen to their barbers. Well, Carlos Miles told me that he had mentored that teen shot and killed yesterday. He says the 17-year-old's father just got out of the hospital yesterday. Miles shared this video of him cutting the boy's hair a while back. Now, Miles and community activist Frank Gotti say after this rash of shootings, we first will have to turn to God. He says that's the number one solution.
Absolutely.
Second, they say everyone is going to have to put skin in the game and act as mentors did back in the old days. They say teens want attention, and if the bad actors are offering to give them attention, that's who they'll turn to.
Let me tell you about a 13, 14, 15-year-old. The only thing they want is a hug. They be want to know somebody looking out for them. You just go up to them sometimes, encourage them.
Like for real, sometimes you guys just let them kids, we'll feed them, then we'll let them go play basketball, run outside, do whatever they want to do for like about 2 hours. But then we were getting closer to them, and they were getting comfortable with us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As a child get comfortable with you, he gonna learn how to talk to you. He gonna want to come and talk to you about his problems. You know what I'm saying? And when he feel like he in a sticky situation, you gonna be the person he calls.
Facts.
Yeah, Carlos Miles, he uses his barbershop as a place to talk to youngsters. He says they trust him, but again, he says he needs help. Frank Gotti, you all know him. He runs the Put the Guns Down organization in the Greenlaw area. Back out here live, you can see the owner of the barbershop, Carlos Miles. He is sweeping there. Now, coming up at 6, I brought up what a lot of you are probably thinking. A lot of people are scared to go up to these 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. I'll tell you what these men say about that. Also, coming up at 6, these men, Gotti as well as Miles here, are getting calls in the middle of the night from mothers crying over their young sons. We'll tell you about those calls coming up. DG.
Yeah, look forward to that, Daniel, because that's the kind of perspective we need on this story. This is not just about the violence. This is about the survival of a community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what they say. If you heard in the last piece, they say C.J. Davis, Paul Young, they can't do it alone. This is going to have to come from people in the community, people in homes, parents, guardians, grandmothers. We all need skin in the game.
Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson live. Thank you, Daniel. We'll see you at 6. Of course, Fox 13 is staying on top of these tragedies.
My. Y'all, we not going nowhere till these lights go up. I'm going to tell you that now. Baby, it's Friday night. And I done got me some chips and some tea. And, yeah. I got me a little music playing. I can chill. You know what I mean? But we, y'all need a little music. You want me to pump up the volume on the music? These parents need to be more effective, starting with the children. Hey, Samantha. Yeah, they gotta be actively involved, you know. I mean, actively concerned, involved, pull these kids away from just the games, you know, just It's just out of control. It's out of order. Let me see what they were doing.
Will be in the courtroom Tuesday when jury selection takes place, but no cell phones or cameras are allowed.
In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
Well, I think we're going to be talking about this trial a lot in the next few weeks. I imagine this jury selection.
And when they have a trial.
Michigan will take an extended period, but this is the police officer Christopher Schur, who has been charged with second-degree murder for his shooting of a Congolese migrant in the back of the head while they were fighting over his taser. There are a number of videos floating around, which we will look at some point in the coming weeks. But I think this is an important conversation because we've been talking
What is
about
this about? This is
self-defense,
about
and we have been talking
I
about
thought he
the
said the
right
title
to
was
use
double
deadly force
stabbing
in a
for
physical
white
confrontation.
teen stabbing
So what we
another
have
teen.
here,
And
we
they
have
talking about
Patrick Loyola was driving a car
police shooting.
that the license plates had been switched on, as in the license plate did not match the car. This officer pulls him over. Patrick Loyola gets out of the car. He starts running. All of this, we got 4 videos. We've got a dash cam video, we've got a body cam video, we've got the passenger of Patrick's car, and we've got a front doorbell video that catch Patrick and him in a foot chase and then a physical altercation. We believe, most people believe Patrick was running. He was intoxicated. He was drunk that morning. He was due to go turn himself into the court to be sentenced on another criminal charge. He had a pretty robust criminal history in the very short time he had been in the United States. And there was a fight. There was a fist fight initiated by Patrick. He had tried tasing Patrick a couple of times. It did not work. Patrick had partially got on top of him. They were fighting. He was screaming, "Let go of my taser, let go of my taser." And then the officer pulled out the gun and shot him in the back of the head.
Was Patrick ever seen on video actually holding the taser in his hand?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
And
there's
most
4
I've
videos
seen,
of this
but I've seen cops get into physical altercations with suspects and will lie and say 2 things: stop grabbing my weapon, stop grabbing my weapon, stop grabbing my taser, or stop resisting. When the suspect is not resisting, but they use that language on camera and video to justify the extent of force that they choose to use to justify that force. If Patrick never actually had the taser in his hand, I would really want to see, and jurors will see, hopefully, where his hand actually was, or was it the cop yelling that, pretending that he was grabbing his taser because he knew what he was planning to do?
Well, there's another nuance, right? So the officer sure had discharged the taser twice, and that, I mean, we've got video here. He had, obviously you see his hand grabbing the taser there.
Let's watch this video. Let's cue this thing in. I really want to watch this.
The taser. Where's your phone? Let's go to sleep.
So you see that he did have his hand physically on it.
And the body cam deactivated.
There's another wrinkle. Well, no one's arguing the body cam got knocked off while they were fighting. There's no one arguing. But here's another wrinkle. The officer sure had discharged the taser twice. So it was no longer a working taser, right? So it would be like shooting a gun and they're not
That would not be working, because that had been discharged.
Now the officer, Christopher, is saying he did not realize and that it was no longer working. And you saw, I mean, it was in his hand. It was in Patrick's hand. Patrick was fighting with him.
But it looks like they were standing up.
Well, right, and
And
then he
they're
ends up on the
wrestling, and they're
ground,
wrestling like
and then he
this.
shoots him in the back of the head. There's all these camera angles, all this. So, I'm asking...
But there has to be a lie.
Well, here's my big question for you.
Because prosecutors, I don't believe prosecutors would have brought a murder charge against this officer.
Gotta get the lights up.
That this officer was lying in his description of the events. Well, prosecutors are very, very meticulous in officer-involved shooting cases. And they're very thorough in investigating these cases. And in Texas, I wouldn't be surprised if the DA's office had an investigation going on simultaneously.
Another Texas.
This never would have been prosecuted.
But I just doubt, for some reason, that this man's version of events, the officer, was believable to the prosecutors.
But it's all, and the whole thing is
So obviously there's something on video that proves that the shooting was not justified.
See, I think the question is that he shot him in the back of the head.
So the prosecutor's going to look at 4 separate videos and say, okay, those 4 separate videos will get him off, but we're going to indict him anyway. Obviously, there's something on the video saying, you know what, we have to indict this man.
I mean, first of all, Grand Rapids, very, very Democrat, okay, this is an old case. This case is 3-4 years old, and it was at the height of the aftermath of George Floyd and the social justice season in America. This has gone up to the Michigan Supreme Court already. There's been interlocutory appeals. This has been a highly contested, just to get to this point, right? Usually your appeals are after the fact. because we see exactly what happened. Patrick ignored his directions. Patrick engaged in a foot chase, a violent physical confrontation, did grab the taser, and the officer then shot him.
We're going to get the lights up.
Longer a working taser, right? So it would be like shooting a gun and they're not
That would not be working, that been discharged.
Now the officer, Christopher, is saying he did not realize and that it was no longer working. And you saw, I mean, it was in his hand. It was in Patrick's hand. Patrick was fighting with him.
But it looks like
Thank you.
Well, right, and they end up on the ground,
like
and then he
this.
shoots him in the back of the
SD.
head. There's all these camera angles.
Thank
all
you.
This. So I'm asking,
But there has to be a lie somewhere.
well, here's my big question for you.
Because prosecutors, I don't believe prosecutors would have brought a murder charge against this officer unless they proved that this officer was lying in his description of the
Murder charge on a cop.
Prosecutors are very, very meticulous in officer-involved shooting cases.
Can y'all believe
And
that?
they're very thorough in investigating these cases. And in Texas, I wouldn't be surprised if the DA's office had an investigation going on simultaneously. Texas Rangers.
Well, this never would have been prosecuted in
But
Texas.
I just doubt, for some reason, that this man's version of events, the officer,
Well, it's all
was
captured on
believable
video.
to the prosecutors.
But it's all, the whole thing is
So
captured on
obviously,
video.
there's something on video that proves that the shooting was not justified.
See, I think the question
Four
is
videos?
that he shot him in the back of the head.
So the prosecutor's going to look at 4 separate videos and say, okay, those 4 separate videos will get him off, but we're going to indict him anyway.
hold on.
Obviously, there's something on the video that says, you know what, we have to indict this man.
I mean, first of all, Grand Rapids, very, very Democrat. Okay, this is an old case. This case is 3-4 years old, and it was at the height of the aftermath of George Floyd and the social justice season in America. This has gone up to the Michigan Supreme Court already. There's been interlocutory appeals. This has been a highly contested, just to get to this point, right? Usually your appeals are after the fact, because we see exactly what happened. Patrick ignored his directions. Patrick engaged in a foot chase, a violent physical confrontation.
Hey, plus size.
Did grab the taser, and the officer then shot him in the back of the head. And my biggest question for you, and why I want to talk about this,
Are you
we had
SD?
another incident where we had either a shove or a push and bullying, and a stab to the chest that killed someone.
Thank you.
And it's your position that that is self-defense. Was the officer justified?
Exactly, in teaching them
When
the black kid
had attacked him,
starts at home.
and grabbed his taser.
I agree, LP.
Well, first of all, you're comparing apples and artichokes to compare Carmelo Anthony to this particular case involving an officer-involved shooting.
How so?
Let me tell you why.
Okay.
We have yet to see any video in the Carmelo Anthony
Absolutely.
case. But in this particular case,
On
of this
purpose.
officer-involved shooting death, there's 4 different videos.
Right.
And a body cam going off and on suspiciously, in my opinion. And now we have some of the best legal minds, as you're describing, that this case is going up the appellate system in Michigan. If that's the case, and the prosecutor's office
How
is
can you, and
still
you don't have
determined
no
on
video
prosecuting
footage? You're a
this man,
trip.
it is only because expert legal minds have told them this is murder, you gotta prosecute. And where are the appellate courts ruling, oh no, this man should have never been charged, toss it out, throw it out? No appellate court threw the case out. No appellate court said don't prosecute him. So obviously there's more to this story on those videos.
The whole story is
that
whether or
justifies, in the eyes of prosecutors, to indict this cop for murder. So in Carmelo Anthony's case, we don't have video. We all wish we had video.
Absolutely.
We all wish we could see what actually took place. All we have is eyewitness testimony, and some of that testimony is conflicting one another. Sure.
Absolutely.
That officer, in my
Absolutely.
opinion, did something more
And y'all know it.
that's on those videos that a jury is going to see. Now, a jury is going to decide if what the prosecutor's version of the chain of events are true. And it's highly probable, I guarantee you.
They be trying to play in our
this
face.
cop lying in this investigation about what took place and how it took place. And I don't believe the body cam was just suspiciously turned off and then was turned back on in the tussle. I don't buy that.
Okay, but let's assume all the facts that everyone is alleging, right? Let's assume that what everything's captured is true, and that the argument, because the argument of the DA's office is that it was unreasonable for him to shoot him in the back of the head while they're involved in a physical confrontation, right? And then the entire law enforcement community's position, right, other than the DA's office, is that, you know, he was trying to get his taser, he was in fear of his life, and he was, you know, got attacked by
But he shot him in the back of the head.
While they were
So
on the ground.
was his back turned to him?
No, he was on top of him.
So if he's on top of him, how he shoot him in the back of the head?
Just like that. But here's my real question.
I don't know, Charles.
We have all these people in America right
They
now.
can sure make excuses for him, can't they?
Right,
Ooh, they can make excuses for them.
Deserved it. Any use of physical force directed by Austin Metcalf and KARMELOANTHONY justified his use of deadly force in self-defense. And there are people who are applauding that. I feel like that was your position, right?
That is my position.
What did he say?
KARMELOANTHONY.
Hold on.
If the officer touched him, he deserved it. Any use
conflicting one another. Charles, that officer, in my opinion, did something more that's on those videos that a jury is going to see.
Because y'all the one that go back and forth.
If what the prosecutor's version of the chain of events are true. And it's highly probable, I guarantee you, that they caught this cop lying.
Yep.
In this investigation about what took place and how it took place. And
bragging to somebody.
Turned off and then was turned back on in the tussle. I don't buy that.
Bragging
but let's assume all the facts that everyone is alleging, right? Let's assume that what everything's captured is true, and that the argument, because the argument of the DA's office is that it was unreasonable for him to shoot him in the back of the head while they're involved in a physical confrontation, right? And then the entire law enforcement community's position, right, other than the DA's office, is that, you know, he was trying to get his taser, he was in fear of his life, and he was, you know, got attacked by this guy.
But he shot him in the back of the head.
While they were on the ground.
Was his back turned to him?
No, he was on top of him.
So if he's on top of him, how he shoot him in the back of the head?
Just like that. But here's my real question.
I don't know, Charles.
We have all these people in America right now that are saying, you better not, right? If you shoved me, he deserved it. If you touched him, he deserved it. Any use of physical force directed by Austin Metcalf and KARMELOANTHONY justified his use of deadly force in self-defense. And there are people who are applauding that. I feel like that was your position, right?
That is my position, is that KARMELOANTHONY had a right to self-defense, had a right to not be terroristically threatened, had a right to not be assaulted. But Charles, I do not believe that seasoned prosecutors who have fought this case along with defense attorneys all the way through the appellate system are still planning to go forward because it's politically expedient for its office to do so. Charles, this case has been going on for years, and some of the brightest legal minds sitting on the bench in the state of Michigan have determined that this case should go forward. So something's wrong here, Charles. There's more to this.
And you know it, because he white.
Let's say there's not. If it's okay for KARMELOANTHONY to stab Austin Metcalf in the chest, is it okay for every police officer that is punched, shoved, bit, spit on? I mean, all of those happened to me. I never shot nobody, right? I think the worst was when one guy threw feces on me, right?
Oh, Lord.
All of those, should I just boom?
No wonder you angry.
No, you'd have been crazy.
Remember, you're dealing with officers who are trained,
so they're still
supposedly highly trained. They have been. We have taxpayers have invested in that training and the continuous education in that training. These officers have taser, pepper spray, nightsticks.
Not always.
The gamut of the weapons.
Right.
Something's wrong here because I never heard you say that he used mace.
Well, we don't know if he was carrying it.
Oh, come on.
I didn't carry
pepper
spray.
Oh, they can make up excuses for him, can't they?
Charles,
I carried a flashlight, a gun, and two pairs of handcuffs.
So you want America to believe, that's watching this show, that prosecutors would risk in a high-profile
He ain't call him a killer or a murderer or nothing, have he?
Not guilty verdict and having their office embarrassed.
Yeah, I would.
Instead of just saying, hey, let a grand jury hear it, grand jury dismisses it, then the prosecutor's office hanging their head on the grand jury, so the jury let him go. They would do that before they risk being highly exposed and embarrassed with a not guilty verdict.
Position that this is the DA's office in Grand Rapids, Michigan, attempting a modern-day lynching of this Christopher Schur looking to imprison him for life.
Wow.
You just use the word modern day lynching.
That's a radical
Are
position.
you smoking dope or dog food?
This officer
modern day lynching.
Smoking dope or dog food? Did he say, are you smoking dope or dog food? Both. He mixed some cocktail. He done lost his mind. He done lost his mind.
We have taxpayers have invested in that training and the continuous education in that training. The
entitlement, y'all.
Pepper spray, nightsticks.
Not always.
The gamut of the weapons.
Right.
The entitlement.
Because I never heard you say that he used mace.
Well, we don't know if he was carrying it.
Oh, come on.
I didn't carry pepper spray. I didn't carry pepper spray.
He called
Charles.
I carried a flashlight and gun.
Yeah, baby.
You want America to believe that's watching this show.
He called Carmelo all type of murderers.
Risk in a high-profile case is this: moving forward, getting a not guilty verdict and having their office embarrassed.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, "Hey, let a grand jury hear it." Grand jury dismisses it, then the prosecutor's office hanging their head on the grand jury, so the jury let him go. They would do that before they risk being highly exposed and embarrassed with a not guilty verdict.
Position that this is the DA's office in Grand Rapids, Michigan, attempting a modern-day lynching of this Christopher Schur, looking to imprison him for life.
He looked at him like,
you just used the word modern day lynching.
That's a radical
position. Are you smoking dope or dog food?
This officer
modern day lynching.
Hold over a repeated
This man was unarmed. He didn't have a weapon.
He wasn't unarmed because he had his hand on that taser.
That wouldn't work. That was not working.
No, the officer is saying he didn't realize that.
So now he's got a taser in his hand, allegedly. Not even pointed at the cop. It's like this from what I saw.
Okay.
The taser's still pointing at him.
But how can you say it's okay for Carmelo Anthony to stab him to death?
You call that a lynching?
I think it's
Do you know how many cops have executed black men for being unarmed, being compliant, and they come up dead these cops in traffic stops, and you call this case
smoking dope or dog food, baby?
Folks have gone crazy.
Here's the thing. Well, I mean, you want to talk about that. Look at the numbers of officers.
Smoking dope or dog food?
Versus the numbers of people officers kill, right? And break it down by race. I don't like that math. Here we have an officer.
You seem to love it. You bring it up quite a bit.
Hold on. Well, because numbers piss you off.
Because it fits the narrative.
I got you know numbers piss him off.
Truth is truth.
Charles, let me tell you something. Okay. I'm very suspect of data in this country coming out of three-letter agencies.
Data.
Even you have condemned the Justice Department's data before.
Right, because
now wait a minute.
Biden administration lied to America.
You're going to have to use that. Are you smoking dope or dog food, baby?
Turn right around and say the Biden administration, when they released the same data, it was incorrect, it was corrupted, and there was no...
They hypocrites.
So if they're Democrats, if data's false, if they're white Republican conservatives, you'll take the data.
No. Actually, I just want data to be accurate, and the Biden administration admitted that their data was not accurate. And I think law enforcement nowadays would rather manipulate data so they can argue crime is down. That's why we don't do anything. But here, I can't imagine
There's something missing in this case, Charles.
That's the nonsense. How is it okay to stab someone for shoving you and not shoot someone for attacking you and taking the taser?
But you cannot compare Carmelo Anthony's case to this.
Why
for
not?
several reasons. There are multiple videos. Carmelo didn't have at his disposal mace and a taser to defend himself against somebody who was 220 pounds. Carmelo Anthony's 135 pounds, almost 100-pound difference in weight. And now Carmelo Anthony, he ain't got mace. He ain't got a taser. He ain't got.
And you see, they still leaving out Hunter, y'all.
Great minds in the legal area in Michigan have determined that this case should move forward.
Liberalism gone wild, pushing this prosecution that is risking about. If Patrick
they still leaving out Hunter. How big was Hunter?
Switching license plates, driving drunk.
But what if he was intoxicated?
Well, he's intoxicated.
Well, we watch drunk white folks get stopped all the time.
Okay.
And then they beat the hell out of the police.
If a drunk
right, they're not intimidated by white people.
Get stopped all the time, spit on the cops,
right?
The cops kick him in the butt,
right?
Get in his car and drive off, and he still go to jail without a scratch.
Right.
If a drunk white guy grabbed an officer's taser and the officer shot him, nobody would care.
But that's not what they do.
Nobody else.
But that's not what they do.
That actually,
In
when you look
majority,
Yeah, but we don't know.
in
We don't
majority
know
of
because we
cases,
don't see
when
that.
a white guy disrespects a white cop like that, they're real respectful. They still speak to the suspect
why can't we talk about this
with sincerity and compassion.
Because you brought up.
and sympathy.
You
and
brought it up.
Come on, Charles.
So if you
Carmelo Anthony's case don't equal like this,
but
man.
as an officer, if let's say you were the officer, right, and let's say it was a white guy, and a guy and y'all are fighting.
I'll be very honest with you.
And the guy
if I can
grabs your
see he's
taser,
if I can see he's clearly drunk. If I can see he's clearly drunk.
You don't think drunk?
Let me say this to you. If I can say he's clearly drunk and he's running away from me, and I put the taser on him and it ain't working, I would have stepped back knowing he clearly drunk and put some pepper spray on him because he's clearly drunk anyway. At what point do you feel a
You should have been
person
able
is
to
clearly
fetch him.
intoxicated that you have to use deadly force to shoot him in the back of the head? The back of the head.
I wish he would have shot him. But I don't think it's
and
murder.
then your body cams.
I don't think anyone thinks it's murder.
Then your body cams suspiciously turn off. Then.
How can he say Carmelo Anthony is murder and somebody getting shot in the back of the head is not murder? White cop shoots black guy, back of the head is not murder. Carmelo Anthony stabs a white guy is murder. How they justify that? If they both say that they was defending themselves, if they both saying that they were life was in danger, how is one not murder and the other one is? See what I'm talking about? They're saying both of them is self-defense. If the police officer was saying he was going for my taser, he wasn't going for his gun. He was going for a taser. You know, you shot him in the back of the head. That's not murder. They make the rules. They break them. Somebody died. That's murder. And they wonder why I won't ease up.
Turn back on and you lie and say, well, the suspect did it. I'm not buying that, Charles.
You think while they're fighting, he turned off his body. He took time out of fighting for his life.
It's happened before.
From this violent criminal.
It's happened
this
before.
repeat violent
Charles,
criminal.
it has happened in multiple cases.
Right, but I'm talking about
when
this
these
case.
cops turn off their body
No,
cams.
don't doubt that.
Then turn them back
there
on.
are corrupt cops that do all kind of stuff, and I am a big
it
advocate
is
for
documented
cameras.
across the country.
But we have 4 cameras that all caught the fact that Patrick started this. Patrick was fighting with him. Patrick was trying to take his tape.
Please get the likes up. I need about 40 likes. Oh, I need 40 people to go ahead and leave who don't want to support the platform. I'm going to tell you that now. Baby. And if y'all, whoever's here, please go back and watch that live I did earlier today. Where that attorney broke it down now. We gonna watch him again if the people start acting right. This was a couple of weeks ago. And his tune has changed from 2 days ago, one I played earlier, because this one over here, baby, he had a whole different type of aggression. I need my lights up. Baby, boom. I'm gonna tell you. He said he said a lot. Yeah, go ahead and leave.
the officer is saying
So now he's got a taser in his hand, allegedly, not even pointed at the cop. Okay. It's like this from what I saw. Okay. The taser's still pointing at him.
But how can you say it's okay for Carmelo Anthony to stab him to death? You call that a lynching? I think
Do you know how many cops have executed black men for being unarmed, being compliant, and they come up dead at the hands of these cops in traffic stops? And you call this case a modern day lynching?
That's what
you white folks have gone crazy.
Here's the thing. Well, I mean, you want to talk about that. Look at the numbers of officers executed versus the numbers of people officers kill, right? And break it down by race. I don't like that math. Here we have an officer.
You seem to love it. You bring it up quite a bit.
But hold on. Well, because numbers piss you off.
Because it fits the narrative of the people who agree with you.
Data is data. Truth is truth.
Charles, let me tell you something. Okay. I'm very suspect of data in this country coming out of three-letter agencies.
Data.
Even you have condemned the Justice Department's data before.
Right, because now wait a minute.
So why is it now you want to talk about the data and how you agree with the data?
These
videos. Turn right around and say the Biden administration, when they released the same data, it was incorrect, it was corrupted, and it was no good because they're Democrats. So if they're Democrats, the data is false. If they're white Republican conservatives, you'll take the data.
No. Actually, I just want data to be accurate, and the Biden administration admitted that their data was not accurate. And I think law enforcement nowadays would rather manipulate data so they can argue crime is down, that's why we don't do anything. But here, I can't imagine
There's something missing in this case, Charles.
That's the nonsense. How is it okay to stab someone for shoving you and not shoot someone for attacking you and taking your taser?
But you cannot compare Carmelo Anthony's case to this.
Why not?
So they do know that there was hands put on Carmelo.
Didn't have at his disposal mace and a taser to defend himself against somebody who was 220 pounds. Carmelo Anthony's 135 pounds, almost 100-pound difference in weight. And now Carmelo Anthony, he ain't got mace. He ain't got a taser. He ain't got a regular call backup for help. Come on, Charles. Great minds in the legal area in Michigan have determined that this case should move forward.
Liberalism gone wild, pushing this prosecution that is risking about. If Patrick would have just sat in his car and got arrested for switching license plates, driving drunk.
But what if he was intoxicated?
Well, he's intoxicated.
But we watch drunk white folks get stopped all the time. Okay. And damn near beat the hell out of the police.
If a drunk white
we watch drunk white folks get stopped all the time, spit on the cops, slap the cops, kick him in the butt, get in his car and drive off, and he still go to jail without a scratch.
If a drunk white guy grabbed an officer's taser and the officer shot him, nobody would care.
But that's not what they do.
Nobody else.
But that's not what they do.
That actually,
in majority of the cases, when
they're not afraid of white people.
They're real respectful.
They're only intimidated by black people.
Can we talk about this
with sincerity and compassion and mercy and sympathy and empathy? Come on, Charles.
So if you
they know how to de-escalate white people.
Like this,
but as an officer, if let's say you were the officer, right, and let's say it was a white guy. And a guy and y'all are fighting.
I'll be very honest with you.
And the guy grabs your taser.
If I can see he's clearly drunk. If I can see he's clearly drunk.
You don't think drunk?
Let me say this to you. If I can say he's clearly drunk and he's running away from me, and I've put the taser on him and it ain't working, I would have stepped back knowing he's clearly drunk and put some pepper spray on him because he's clearly drunk anyway. At what point do you feel a person that's clearly intoxicated that you have to use deadly force to shoot him in the back of the head? The back of the head.
I wish he would have shot him. But I don't think it's murder.
Then your body cam.
I don't think anyone thinks it's murder.
Then your body cam suspicion.
How do they not think it's murder? Wow.
The suspect did it. I'm not buying that, Charles.
Wow.
Well, they're fighting. He turned off.
It's not murder.
Time out of fighting for his life.
Somebody died though.
Violent criminal. This repeat violent criminal.
It has happened in multiple cases.
Right, but I'm talking about this case.
Wow, that blows my mind.
Then turn them back
there
on.
Are corrupt cops that do all kind of stuff, and
changing the narrative.
We have 4 cameras that all.
It's murder. It's murder. Carmelo Anthony, whether it's self-defense or not, it's murder.
And he shot him to save his own life. And why are we prosecuting him for murder?
I think it's going to come down to when he shot him. Was Patrick a threat at that time?
Yeah, he was.
Just like the old payola.
In the back of the head,
Everyone,
in the back of the
this
head.
Congolese migrant who should have been deported long before for being a criminal.
Is it any trolls in here?
Groundswell, community activism, protests, only because of the color of skin.
Well, you want me to go ahead and remove you, T.W. Ray?
Never be indicted, no one would care.
You want me to remove you?
The 14-year-old who was stabbed and killed in Dallas, a black girl killed by a...
T.W. Ray, do you want me to remove you? Since me chewing bothers you. Yeah. Do you support my platform? Huh? Speak up now. Yeah, you thought it was cute. Yeah, but somebody, who is T.W. Ray? I ain't never seen this person before. And they come in, I'm chewing in their ear. Then leave, close your ears. I sure am. You want to hear it again? You better watch what you say. Yeah, you better check the temperature of the room.
Other black girl, no one cares.
Charles,
Anthony,
I disagree
and
with that.
And Metcalf, everyone cares.
Let me ask you a question.
You too entitled.
So what do you think is the root cause? If a black person kills a white person, and there's not a lot of fanfare about
44
it,
times more likely.
What's the root cause of that?
Well, I don't know.
I'll tell you the root cause.
Every instance is different.
I'll tell you the root cause.
We're individuals.
For hundreds of years, black people had to watch their members of their family, their community.
So that justifies
go to jail.
Well, tell me how they murdered when that man shot him in the back of the head.
For killing a white person when it was justifiable, and they were executed. They had to watch black people like young Penny,
So you mean
like young Mr. Penny, who was executed for killing 2 young white girls, only later to learn that a white man did it, not their little brother, and they executed him.
It's horrible.
14 years of age. It is because of the documented case after case after case, historical instances of injustice that black people are still hurt and wounded and justifiably so bitter about in this country.
So you think so a black person is 44 more times likely to commit a violent crime against a white person than a white person is to a black person?
I don't buy the numbers like that.
So you think because of history that violence is okay?
Where you get them notes from Sean Hannity?
No, I did not.
Oh, well, you think it's okay for him to shoot somebody in the back of the head and not call it murder?
I'm interested in data. In fact, the most overrepresentation in the federal data is falsely identifying non-white people as white.
So then let me ask you a question.
For the purpose
why
of
every time, why 90% of the time you see a mass shooter, he's a white boy?
Because the media
and he's a white supremacist.
Because the media,
and he's a white supremacist.
Because the media lies to you.
90% of the time, it's a white boy.
Now the media lies to you, but the media don't lie to you.
Of mass shooters are African American,
and they shoot each other. They ain't shooting you white folks.
Woo! Oh wow!
This is what the world is watching.
Oh wow! He turned red. Oh wow! Oh wow, that was kind of that was.
Savor the sweeter things in life.
Yes, they are white, Anthony Lee. You're a lie. Yes, they are.
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and ad-free
No, that's a lie.
Kids app. Try 1 month free.
By Anthony, don't come in here lying. That guy Cardell said it right. They shoot each other. They don't do a whole bunch of mass shootings at university like FSU. Stop that. Y'all are mass shooters. Y'all want to act like y'all don't do nothing. We don't do nothing. We are perfect citizens. No, well, you a lie. Name them. Name the black mass shooters. Go on with that stupid stuff. Yeah, y'all kill me being entitled. Y'all just great. We are perfect. We are. Do you know you come from black people, Anthony Lee? Do you know the root of where you come from? Let's go there. Since you think you superior, do you know where you come from? Huh? Do you know where you come from? Do you know you got black in you? You know the creation of man is black, right? Smart ass. Yeah. By God. No, I'm not talking about gang shootings. I'm talking about, do you know the creation of man is black? So you black too. Yeah. Okay. Well then shut the hell up. And come back another day. Okay, let's go. Okay. Ooh, don't try me today. I think that was the end of the day. Hold on. They debate, baby. he had him on the ropes. Cardell or Cardell, whatever his name is, he had him on the ropes, didn't he? Oh, they got their ass up out of here when I started talking about they came from black men. The origin of man is black. Woo! They hopped their ass up out of here, y'all. Woo! Let's go.
And somebody has to say it. Encourage our young brothers, in particular, and sisters, when they deal with law enforcement, comply, comply, comply. Even if you feel that the officer's conduct is wrong, it's egregious, let's make sure you file complaints after the fact and let us fight for you and expose the corruption and excessive use of force by that particular police officer. Don't hold your grievance out there at the scene on the streets, because trust me, you're not going to win it there.
Hi, Crystal.
Live to fight another day in a courtroom. So please, brothers, I know it may not sound like a tough thing, but comply.
On a different topic, I was going to talk just about Christopher Scher, but Quanell very right about compliance. Don't waive your constitutional rights, and that's coming from an attorney. Don't allow the search. But let's talk about Christopher Scher. For decades, for centuries, police officers, law enforcement were allowed to get away with incredible violence without consequence, right? The case that bothers me the most, Tamir Rice.
He said, don't allow the search.
He executed a 12-year-old boy playing with a gun. It was disgusting. But Christopher Scher represents the societal overreaction to that. If you attack a police officer, if you fight with a police officer, if you pull a taser away from a police officer, that police officer has every right to shoot you and kill you. You can't do that. This man is being wrongfully prosecuted.
He said it wasn't murder. He said it wasn't murder. He said the police officer was defending himself, and it was not murder. Carmelo Anthony was defending himself, and it was murder. And they said, anytime somebody lose their life, ain't that what they said? They said it's murder. I mean, there is a justifiable homicide, but hell, he tried to act like it wasn't murder. Like the man's still alive somewhere. We just can't see him. I mean, because if somebody is no longer breathing, you let them tell it. Lord. They kill me. They make the rules. I remember my mama always said that. Them folk make the rules and they break them. Hold on. Oh, Lord. Let me plug this one up over here. Baby. We gonna get to hear what they say about this one here. We finna hear how the same man, now this was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, what he was saying about him, how they changed the narrative on Trayvon Martin. Raw, for what I said earlier, imminent threat. Yeah, imminent threat. Yeah, because the same things that they said about Zimmerman is gonna be the same thing that's gonna get KARMELOANTHONY out. They gonna flip it around and they gonna justify it because they try to act like it ain't nothing out there that is gonna be lawful. Yeah, I heard all type of good gems today. Lawful. I thought y'all said it wasn't on. Y'all hold on. Because the same man that we heard today, 2 weeks ago, baby, and I tell you, he was talking totally different. I wonder what done changed. What type of evidence you done came across that's to change your whole tune to say somebody don't even have to touch you for it to be self-defense. Y'all ready? Where my light said, Lord. Imminent threat. Woo, baby. When I tell y'all, he had me so excited today. And then when I listened to what he was saying 2 weeks ago, could not possibly be the same man. Could not possibly be demonstrating. No, you will not come on by yourself. The same energy, baby. I'm like, what done happened? Let me give y'all just a little taste of what he said today. What we watched today. Just the beginning, just the opening. Blew my mind. I was in love, baby. I was in love with what he said.
So let me offend you first. KARMELOANTHONY will be acquitted. He will be found not guilty. Okay, is everybody sufficiently angry? Because far left writers are going to threaten the jurors, and the jurors are going to bend the knee. Not because he's actually innocent. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be like the Arbery case. I think it's going to be like the Floyd case with Chauvin. Where they're going to
listen what you good here. For y'all who missed it.
The jury is going to side with whatever the left is, and the rioters will not be imprisoned or face justice.
The question again is, did you have a reasonable perception that you were facing an imminent threat of unlawful deadly force harm? If the answer to that is yes, you can use deadly force in self-defense, and there's an infinite...
He said, y'all been asking the wrong question. It's, did you... I've been saying perception... perception. Now, again, we gonna see this man in a minute. 2 weeks ago when it first happened, and what is that the same man? I think so. Hold on.
Floyd case with Chauvin. Where they're going to imprison the jury is going to side with whatever the left is, and the rioters will not be imprisoned or face justice.
The question again is, did you have a reasonable perception that you were facing an imminent threat of unlawful deadly force harm? If the answer to that is yes, you can use deadly force in self-defense, and there's an infinite number of ways that can happen. If someone just grabs you, are they grabbing you and they have a knife in their other hand? Because that's going to be a bad day for you. Are they grabbing you and they're 200 pounds heavier than you? Bad day for you. That could well be a deadly force threat.
What if they...
Didn't they say that Hunter was 200 and some pounds and almost 100 pounds difference? Didn't they say that just a minute ago?
Grab you, and there's 5 guys all around you.
Sure, then there's a disparity of numbers. Then it's the force of the collective group that's threatening you, not just one individual.
What if they don't touch you at all? Are there circumstances where deadly force is...
Yes, of course. If someone comes up to me and opens up their jacket and says, "Give me your wallet," and they show a gun, they haven't touched me. I don't have to suffer a scratch before I can defend myself. I can defend myself against the threat.
That right there. Baby, I don't have to suffer a scratch. I do not have to suffer nothing for it to be a threat, an imminent threat. So why are they keep going back and forth, you know? But like this man said, people been asking the wrong question. Baby.
It's about to occur. It's an imminent threat that you're defending.
It's about. You mean the threat ain't actually there yet? Now, let me say this to y'all. When we go over here, this is 2 weeks ago. And this is when he was really, baby, it was fresh, it was new, and it was as if it was personal. And it was as if, he said he didn't have it all, you know, but his aggression was totally different. He was singing a whole different tune. It was as if he was trying to pick it out, leave out Hunter, leave out stuff, baby. But right here, he said, so here he said, it can be about. You don't have to have put a hand on me. Huh? See, this is what my mama said a long time ago. They make the rules and they break the rules. The rules apply to them. They say one thing, and when it applies to us, hey, Rena, they say something else. But I'm going to tell you, his energy here about self-defense and stand your ground. He don't like stand your ground. He don't like stand your ground. I'm going to tell you that now. That's right. I feel like you about to bring danger my way. We don't troll over here. But listen. But over here, woo, he had a different type of aggression. I was looking at him over here like, are you related to the Metcalfs? But hold on, let me back it up right here. I'm going to say again, I don't condone violence. I think everybody should keep their hands to themselves. Stop, because what he's saying right here, they don't even have to touch you. So they over there talking about, well, it was just a push. Oh, okay, Cherokee. Okay, that's
yourself against. In fact, if some guy runs up and punches you and then he runs away,
no.
You can't use force against that.
No.
They haven't touched me. I don't have to suffer a scratch before I can defend myself. I can defend myself against the threat that's about to occur. It's an imminent threat that you're defending yourself against. In fact, if some guy runs up and punches you and then he runs away, you can't use force against that guy. The punch is over. The attack's over. That would be vengeance after that. If you're ever compelled to use force in defense of your...
Okay, so let's go over here. If y'all really want to get to the meat of this one here, you got to go back and watch the live I did earlier today. Not the upload, the live. What was the face of the live? Oh, baby, when I tell you that one there had quite a few gems about self-defense and stand your ground. I still don't think this man likes that in Texas. I don't think he like it. I don't think he like that that law. I try to tell people, stand your ground. You don't have to run from nothing. You don't have to run from them people. You don't have to run at all. You don't have to retreat. I tried to tell somebody that, didn't I? And they sure don't want to have no oh, it was the one with the attorney. Yeah, I ain't gonna be able to get that big enough so y'all can see it. But it was Carmelo, Hunter, the liar, and the attorney. That one there, an hour and 14 minutes. If y'all want to go back at right, it's so-called defense attorney is full of it. He blocked me. Who blocked you, Rena? You been I've been said that. Woo, let's go. I mean, some of his jibber jabber, I just don't want. I don't like the games. And I understand that this was 2 weeks ago, closer to when it was fresh. I understand, I can't process the intentional acting like they don't know the truth. I cannot. But let me see. Is this the one? Yeah. Cause the tune he's singing now is totally different than this 2 weeks ago. Yeah, cause the reality of it is
I proceeded to the north end of the stadium on foot, got closer, saw the Memorial High School tent with multiple individuals. 0.02 C. Let's see. 19.02 C. Yeah, that's just murder, first-degree murder. So, narratives, initial narrative. Officer Eduardo Cortez. At April 2nd, 2025, at 10 o'clock in the morning, Staley School Resource Officer Cortez, that's this guy, heard over the radio dispatch call out a stabbing at the stadium.
I need for y'all to see some of his aggression earlier.
Intending to use defense, 15% mitigated manslaughter, and 83% cold-blooded murder. Now, I have not read the police report yet. What I've seen of the facts so far, independent of the police report, is making murder look pretty good. In fact, before we look at the police report, why don't we actually take a look at the criminal statutes?
His whole demeanor was different 2 weeks ago.
Understanding.
Yeah, I don't want to hear all that, but his whole demeanor
force against that other person.
It was totally different.
Was Staley School Resource Officer Cortez.
I'm just gonna start here.
That's this guy. Heard over the radio dispatch call out a stabbing at the stadium. Briscoe PD indicates an athlete was stabbed. The suspect was reported being a black male wearing a gray hoodie and blue sweatpants. I left my office, ran across the parking lot to the stadium. As they entered, 2 high school age students informed me the victim was on the north end by the bleachers. I proceeded to the north end of the stadium on foot, got closer, saw the Memorial High School tent with multiple individuals. Arrived, an adult male who was on the track pointed out the suspect. The individual that was pointed out to me was a black male wearing a gray hooded sweater and dark colored Nike pants. The suspect at this point was on the track on the north end. There was a chain link fence that separated me from the suspect. I gave the suspect instructions to keep his hands up in the air. The suspect said verbally out loud, "I was protecting myself." So there's the claim of self-defense right there. That alone is probably enough for Carmelo Anthony to meet his burden of production and be privileged to argue self-defense in trial. It doesn't take much. It takes more than zero evidence, and that's probably enough right there. His self-serving statement upon first contact with police. It should be noted, the officer says, that I had not questioned him about the incident when he made that comment. The reason the officer is saying this is because before he's allowed to question a suspect as a suspect, he has to read him his Miranda rights. If he doesn't do that, whatever results from the questioning would be excluded from evidence, would not be admissible as evidence. Obviously, they want to admit this statement into evidence. They want to make sure there's not going to be a Miranda issue. He made this statement before I sought to question him, so therefore before I was required to Mirandize him. So the fact that he wasn't Mirandized is irrelevant. This statement, I was protecting myself, I'm the guy who stabbed him, but I did it in lawful self-defense, will be admissible in evidence. I asked him if he had any weapons. He said no. I patted him down for weapons while we were walking along the fence. Did not locate any.
For lawful what? For lawful what?
8 states is
huh? For lawful what?
the box. This
So
is statement upon first contact with police. It should be noted, the officer says, that I had not questioned him about the incident when he made that comment. The reason the officer is saying this is because before he's allowed to question a suspect as a suspect, he has to read him his Miranda rights. If he doesn't do that, whatever results from the questioning would be excluded from evidence, would not be admissible as evidence. Obviously, they want to admit this statement into evidence. They want to make sure there's not going to be a Miranda issue. He made this statement before I sought to question him, so therefore before I was required to Mirandize him. So the fact that he wasn't Mirandized is irrelevant. This statement, I was protecting myself. I'm the guy who stabbed him, but I did it in lawful self-defense, will be admissible in evidence.
Lawful self-defense.
I asked him if he had any weapons. He said no. I patted him down for weapons while we were walking along the fence, did not locate any. I instructed the male to continue walking along the fence, which he complied towards an area where there was an opening. The suspect said he put his hands on me. I then detained the suspect in handcuffs behind the back, had him sit on the ground. Officer A. Ricky had arrived on the scene. I conducted another pat down, searched this person after he gave me consent, no weapons located. While he sat on
Why
the ground,
they didn't call his parents?
that I had the alleged suspect. The suspect then responds and says, I'm not alleged, I did it. Still would be admissible. And of course, as I noted, required for self-defense. You're not saying it wasn't me, you're saying it was me.
So it is required. So although we saying he should not have said it, in order for it to be self-defense, you have to acknowledge that you did it, but you did it to defend yourself. And again, he said that in the very beginning. Nobody coerced him, nothing. He shouldn't have said it, but he's going to have to admit it in order for it to be self-defense. So I was like, okay, I dig that. Let's go.
But I did it in self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Next, Officer Ricky and I walked the suspect to the patrol vehicle.
See, I think this is stuff like this is really pissing them off on the cool. Really pissing them off on the cool because he did little things as a child he didn't even know he was doing. But he was doing it. So when I hear these people saying, we don't know that somebody put their hands on them. Yes, you do, because he said, if you're going to take that he said he did it, then you're going to take that he said he put his hands on him. I told him not to put his hands on me. So now they're trying to minimize it as a push or whatever. But we heard him on 2 days ago upload say it can be about to. So it don't matter. He also said that you don't have to have a scratch on you. Huh? Now, they gonna flip that around, but the law is the law. And again, that's why that DA saying, you know, we gonna have to walk this down. So I can imagine now that they trying to weed through all the lies and the stories and the let me protect Hunter and don't say this and, you know, all of that. That's why the stories are not connecting. Because again, a lot of them are trying to start with Austin and not Hunter. But let's go.
As we were walking to the squad car, the suspect was emotional. He said, he put his hands on me. I told him not to. I did not question the suspect, again, avoiding Miranda issues.
So how can they say, you know, because I heard him a little earlier saying that he was inviting. No, he said, don't put your hands on me. That's not inviting. Yeah, that's what he was trying to say earlier on this one, that mutual combat. This one right here, 2 weeks ago, was trying to say that it was mutual combat. When somebody's saying, touch me and see, is asking for a fight. No, that is responding to you saying what you say you gonna do to me. I told you to leave me alone. I told you not to touch me. I told you not to put your hands on me. So here you go again. We're hearing somebody who don't want to fight. Don't touch me. Don't put your hands on me. That is not saying mutual combat. That is not mutual combat. That is saying, if you do, I'm going to protect myself. And whatever happens, happens. Yeah. So his tune 2 weeks ago was totally different. I just didn't want to go through all of that. It was too aggressive for me. I want to get to where he talks about
I searched this person once again.
the justification.
When the suspect was in the back seat,
look at his
blood
body.
on his left middle finger. I verbally acknowledged that I saw the blood out loud so that it would be captured on my body-worn camera. It should be noted that the suspect asked me, is he going to be okay, while he was in the back seat. Again, this is just evidence consistent with him having been the person who delivered the stab wound. Officer continues, I then identified the suspect. He provided his name and date of birth verbally as Carmelo Anthony, black male with the date of birth, whatever. I ran that through Frisco PD dispatch. Officer Hancock arrived on scene, remained with me and the suspect, checked via eSchool, a database for Frisco Independent School District students to confirm his identity. It matched the individual I had in custody. Sergeant Holland transported the suspect to the Frisco PD. Hancock and I transported him to the FPD jail. I was advised by the sergeant to transport him to Frisco PD jail. Again, I did not question Carmelo about the incident. Upon arriving at the jail, Carmelo was escorted to the intake area. Jail staff changed him into jail attire. I remained with the jail staff the entire time that he changed. The clothes that he had been wearing was placed in an evidence bag. The clothes remained in my possession from this point. So they're establishing the chain of custody of the evidence, so that can't be disputed later. That they were not left unattended and tampered with by somebody, for example. Upon Carmelo being placed in a jail cell, I continued to keep possession of his clothes. I returned to my patrol car, placed the clothes in the back trunk area, drove out of the Sally Port, parked in the parking area. Clothes remained in my trunk until crime scene technician took possession of the clothes.
Make sure y'all watch this video right here.
Further information to report. That was his only involvement.
Real reason why.
Allison Rickey,
lawful self-defense.
Frisco police uniform, operating a
Oh
cruiser.
no.
Dispatched to the report of a stab.
This is the quickest way to clear out
I'm
stuff
sorry.
poop.
Make sure y'all watch that
My
one.
constipation issues were all in my head. Meanwhile,
Also, the judge being doxxed.
Replied by telling Anthony I did not know what happened. This might have been under.
Is this the one? No, this ain't the one.
Day murder trial out of Arizona. It's just a knife on school grounds. That may not be permitted. That, I guess it could even be a criminal violation. But although I would be surprised, but if it is, that's just another criminal charge.
This ain't the one.
Is that the address of Frisco Health?
No.
These are bad facts. Reasonable person, cool reflection.
It's this one.
That's exculpatory.
I'm supposed to be on this one. Lord, no wonder.
Rewind it a little bit. I don't know who these 2 or 3% of you who always pick that first answer.
Yeah, this was too.
At the track, he asked him to move. He started getting
This is the
aggressive
one.
and talking reckless.
And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." And he's like, "Make me move." Also grabbed his backpack. This kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and I'm not gonna talk about the rest. So just that's.
All right, so I'm going to stop there because it's understandably emotional stuff after that. I want to stick with the facts that are shared about the confrontation here. So I'll just rewind it a little bit.
Aggressive in our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." And he's like, "Make me move." Also grabbed his backpack. This kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see.
Okay, so what are we hearing here? We're hearing that.
Hold on. We're hearing exactly what Austin wants to tell you. He's not telling you anything that they said or did aggressive. And it is puzzling to me why nobody is finding that odd. If he was saying something aggressive, then why did he turn and go get a coach? If he was saying something aggressive, he turned around and said something to him aggressively. And he responded. Yeah, but it's fascinating that they start there. Let's go.
Sitting in this tent, not his school. I believe also a relevant factor here could be that it was raining out, so people were seeking to get into the tent. You know what that's like. It would have been crowded under there. Space would have been at a premium. Presumably, Marcella Anthony has his own tent.
Who is Marcelo?
These two were from different high schools.
Who is Marcelo?
Track meet. And Austin Metcalf asked him to move, to make space for the people who
was honest from the get. Oh yeah, he was honest.
Marcella Anthony.
They dig in for loops. They are.
Confrontational.
Camilla was responding to multiple threats. Absolutely.
Does that sound
he
like
should have been at a juvenile facility,
like
right?
Maybe provocation with intent. We'll get to more of that in a moment.
Hunter chose the wrong target to bully. Anthony. I agree. Rest
then we're
in peace.
Hearing that Austin Metcalf didn't touch Marcella Anthony, but touched his backpack to move his backpack out from under.
No, sir. He did both. He did both. And you selectively chose this video where he only told part of it. But he did both. Yeah.
With the tent, presumably, and that's when he got stabbed. Those are facts in evidence. You may contest how credible they are because they're coming from the victim's twin brother, but nevertheless, they are facts in evidence that we have to work with.
I absolutely, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree that there are facts to what happened. Somewhat, yes. But there's more to what he said that y'all have cut out. And you're not letting the people, when you give your analysis, you're not giving a proper analysis because you are intentionally not saying everything that he said, because he most definitely made mention that they put hands on him. But let's go.
There is a lot of misinformation also being promulgated. Some of it is just pure nonsense. Let me share some of that. So we have to be very careful about what we hear on the media about this. You have to look for corroboration, authenticity, provenance. Where is this information coming from? Here's a post on X about this. Someone trying to spin supposed evidence that's favorable to the narrative of self-defense. I'll blow this up a little bit so we can see it better, but
Oh Lord, they got a lot of commercials. Hey Cynthia.
Fiasco, so I almost made.
I'll blow this up a little bit so we can see it better, but I'm not going to read all this text because it turns out to be utter nonsense.
A face, yeah.
But it describes a very different scenario. It describes a scenario in which Austin Metcalf puts his hands on Carmela Anthony, breaks his phone, is the physical violent aggressor in this confrontation. Well, that would certainly sound more like self-defense, wouldn't it? Not a lot, of course, because It's hard to see the deadly force here that would justify Marcella Anthony going to the knife. But we don't have to worry about the details of this because it turns out, supposedly, this was posted by the chief of police of the relevant police department. The Frisco
he was pissed.
Except it wasn't. It's all
I mean,
nonsense.
what he was saying yesterday, 2 days ago, totally different energy.
Posted they're aware of a post from a fake account on social media purporting.
I'm still looking for the first video that came out
not from an official
when they first came up with Carmelo and told him to move and start disrespecting him, cussing him out, and one of Carmelo's friends.
We have a lot of people on X posting more nonsense. More nonsense. They tried to jump him. The twin brothers tried to jump Marcella Anthony. I don't even know what that means.
How do you know what that means?
They tried to beat up Marcella Anthony, and that was supposed to be justification for Marcella Anthony going to deadly force. Folks, this is a crowded tent at a track meet. Lots of people present.
Look, and what that means?
This isn't a dark alley at 2 o'clock.
A dark alley.
Nobody was going to allow
Look at that aggression.
2 17-year-olds to beat another 17-year-old to death. It's utterly ridiculous. But this is the kind of nonsense. So
can y'all believe that this is the same man?
No one should have died, but if you're hitting me,
who said something about an alley?
And I stab you and you die, oh well. Well, first of all, there's no evidence that anybody was hitting Marcella Anthony, and it's not the law.
Who is Marcelo?
Someone simply because they put their hands on you.
Can y'all believe this attorney? What did you just say? Did he say you can't? Hold on. Hold on. Do y'all see this? Do y'all see this? I mean, I wanted this for y'all because now 2 weeks ago, he did he not just then say you can't kill somebody for touching you? You can't. You can't. And then 2 days ago, his energy is different, and he said it can be about to. Ain't that what he said, y'all? Did y'all hear him? It was like, what is this aggression? So
it was totally fabricated. The Frisco PD, the actual
look at his energy.
Are aware of a post from a fake account on social media purporting to belong to Chief David Shilson. This post is not from an official source and may contain information that is false. I think we have to presume that the information is false. And of course, because the event is racially energized, because disparate races were involved, we have a lot of people on X posting more nonsense. More nonsense. They tried to jump him. The twin brothers tried to jump.
Dark alley.
I don't even know what that means. I guess you're trying to say they tried to beat up Marcella Anthony, and that was supposed to be justification for Marcella Anthony going to deadly force. Folks, this is a crowded tent at a track meet. Lots of people present.
Baby, are you pissed off? Huh? Now wait a minute. Why? So you can only be jumped in a dark alley? What? Huh? Look, people, this is not a dark alley. This is a white kid who was taken out by somebody that was black. I mean, the aggression of it all. And I caught your ass slipping again. You said 2 weeks ago you cannot. You cannot. And then we heard you 2 days ago. You done an about fucking face. Why? Yeah.
This isn't a dark alley at 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody was going to allow 2 17-year-olds to beat another 17-year-old to death. It's utterly ridiculous. But this is the kind of nonsense. So you get accounts like this. It was self-defense. No one should have died. But if you're hitting me because I wouldn't listen to you and I stab you and you die, oh well. Well, first of all, there's no evidence that anybody was hitting Marcella Anthony. And it's not the law that you can stab someone simply because they put their hands on you. More nonsense from the same account. They bullied him. They broke his phone. They called him racial slurs. inevitably we had to hear that one, right? As if the magic evil word, the N-word, justifies killing someone. I've never seen that in any self-defense statute I've looked at, folks, and I've looked at pretty much all of them, at least in every American jurisdiction. I've definitely looked at all of them. So we have to watch out for that. Of course, there is...
Y'all, is he aggressive? Was he not aggressively? Look. Watch how he do this, y'all. Watch how.
In as favorable a light as possible. This is an
Look at
image
him.
of him going around social media.
Ooh.
Nice, clean-cut young man.
Look at you.
Kind of photos we.
You are intentionally. Now, I mean, I'm gonna say this. You 2 days ago, your whole energy changed. But baby, girl, oh yeah, you was sticking. You was pissed. Yeah. Yeah, but Texas, stand your ground. It's not the same as self-defense. Yeah. Yeah.
To expect in these cases, but of course, there's another reality too. Here's a post that's going around, popular at the moment, and it purports to show Austin Metcalf here at the top and Carmelo Anthony at the bottom. And they're trying to say that because this bottom right photo had gone around, that's Carmelo Anthony on the left of the bottom right photo holding the AK-like weapon. I don't believe it's an actual AK. I think it's an airsoft gun. But obviously, it looks kind of gangsta.
Gangster.
Not favorable.
But you don't know what the other little slang word is.
So someone posted this to say, hey, just because Marcella Anthony is holding what appears to be an AK and making funny hand gestures in that bottom right photo, don't use that to demonize him. Here's a photo of Austin Metcalf holding a gun too. Well, there's nothing wrong with anybody holding a gun, folks. I've been handling guns since I was 9 years old, by myself. It's fine. But I would suggest these two pictures, top and bottom, are not the same. The top is people holding guns, and they're on a hunt. They're shooting outdoors. A lawful purpose. The bottom right photo looks to me rather different. It communicates a different message to me, especially when Carmelo Anthony appears to be throwing gang signs.
Well, what gang sign is it? What gang sign is that?
For the unlawful use.
What gang sign is that? What gang sign is that one? That's the fuck you gang. What gang sign is that one? What's the gang sign? Why do you assume it's a gang sign? And if you are, what gang sign is it? And what gang sign is the other kids? What gang sign is that one? What gang sign is this one? What gang sign is that? I mean, what is that? What does it mean? I mean, since you want to throw that out there, why the three guys in the middle? I mean, at the top, how you know that that's not no Aryan Nation type shit? Huh? But see, you was doing the same thing other people was doing 2 weeks ago. But baby, 2 days ago, you dropped some gems. You said it can be, you can, and what is it? Imminent threat. It don't actually have to be active. It can be before the thought, perception, perceived. Yeah. But you left all that out when you was popping your shit 2 weeks ago. He had y'all mad. Because, again, the law y'all had for us is now pointing at you. That's just the bottom line.
For violence and mayhem.
Look at you.
Not that I expect any of that would make it into a prosecution, but it's the kind of thing we've said before. This kind of attempt to bias perceptions of the events with photographs. We all remember, I guess I shouldn't say
Oh, here you go, y'all.
I'm of a certain age now, and this happened more than a decade ago, but the shooting of Trayvon Martin by George Zimmerman.
Watch him justify it.
2012 in Florida.
Why?
This is the photo that was distributed by the men.
Okay, so listen. My thumbnail is because of him about to explain to us this justifiable homicide, right? Although all he had was, he say, some tea and some candy. Now, he's finna to switch it around because, what's his name? Austin. Austin didn't have nothing, right? Austin didn't have nothing. And Carmelo Anthony went into his bag and pulled out a weapon to defend himself, right? So I'm what he is about to do, while he flipping it on Trayvon and justifying Zimmerman, it's going to be the same thing, how it's going to be justifiable for Carmelo Anthony. Now, I was offended with his aggression, yeah, until he got here. So I was intrigued to see how he was going to flip this shit around. And indeed, he did. See, but what he did also was allow people to see and hear what was used for Carmelo Anthony, for Zimmerman to be found now guilty. Right? So let's listen.
Millions in the news media.
With his aggression.
Trayvon Martin, 13 years old, pleasant looking. Supposedly, if you listen to Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton, he was murdered by George Zimmerman for the crime of walking through his own neighborhood while carrying iced tea and candy. That was the narrative that was being put out against George Zimmerman by the media, always accompanied by this very pleasant picture. This is not the person who was killed by George Zimmerman. The person who was killed by George Zimmerman was a well-muscled 17-year-old high school student who actively engaged in street fighting. He had videos of himself street fighting on his phone, a slightly different demeanor than the Hollister t-shirt. And when the police arrived at the scene where Trayvon Martin had been shot by George Zimmerman, this is what George Zimmerman looked like. This is the result of the beating that Trayvon Martin had been delivering to George Zimmerman. By the way, the back of Zimmerman's head looks much like this. That nose is broken, by the way, because
this one easy trick will save you thousands when buying a used car. Did you know that some dealerships will clear the check engine codes up?
because Trayvon Martin.
See how they flipped that? Now, Zimmerman had no reason for stopping, messing with, trying to force, right, Trayvon to do anything. He wasn't the police. He wasn't the law. He wasn't none of that. So a fight came with it because he started putting his hand. I don't know the details. All I know is he should have never stopped him. He should have never messed with the kid. He didn't do anything. He had some tea and some Skittles. And I'm going to be honest and think that there may have been some aggression that came into part when you stopping me, saying whatever, accusing me, whatever he did. And I'm going to still say if he would have never said nothing to him, that wouldn't have happened. But let's watch them flip it around.
Had punched George Zimmerman in the face hard enough to knock him on his back and then mounted him and was beating his head into a sidewalk. There's no question about this because we had eyewitness testimony of the ground and pound, that's how the witness described it, MMA ground and pound style beating, and we have the injuries. This was taken immediately when the officers arrived on the scene. Now, here's another interesting.
Oh, he mad, ain't he?
The prosecution tried to hide this photo. They didn't want to share it with the defense, as they were legally required to do. This is obviously evidence that's exculpatory, consistent with Zimmerman's claim of self-defense. He didn't just walk up and shoot Trayvon Martin.
No, he
was
didn't.
the victim of a life-threatening beating.
See how they do that? He was a victim of a life-threatening beating that none of it had to happen had one, he not stopped him, two, he not put his hands on it. Granted, he may have gotten the worst end of the fight, but it didn't have to happen. Why did he stop him? Why did he mess with him? But none of that matters. When you look at him, it looked like he been in the fight. So we're going to X out all of that in the beginning. And he felt like he was in imminent danger. Although he provoked it, because I thought you said he couldn't provoke it. He provoked it. But at any point, he felt like his life. What about when he approached Trayvon and he felt, oh, but he not here to talk. Or he wasn't there to tell you that he felt like his life was in imminent danger. So we have to go along with him, Zimmerman, because he ain't black. And when y'all got there, he was getting his ass whooped. So because he was losing the fight. So if Carmelo would have went on and fought and was getting his ass whooped, then, I mean, although the imminent danger came long before then, you have to wait until you look like that. Is that what you're saying? No. But it was the imminent danger. At any point you feel like your life is threatened. Yeah.
When he finally, desperately pulled his 9mm Kel-Tec pistol and fired a single shot into Trayvon Martin. The prosecution tried to hide this photo, and when they were ultimately compelled to share this photo with the defense, you know what they did? They shared a black and white version of this photo, so you couldn't see the blood. That's the kind of gamesmanship that happens in these cases. So the basic facts we have to work with are what's described by the brother. Of course, other facts could develop. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to evaluate their credibility, their provenance. But with the evidence we have, we can at least take a look at what the correct legal questions are, even if we don't fully have the evidence we need to arrive at a legal answer to a reasonable degree of legal certainty. And the questions are knowable because the questions are framed by the actual law of self-defense in Texas.
What do you mean, Brandon? It's debate, or will I just be blocked? Well, it depends on what's the question. I mean, don't. I can debate with you, but don't come in just outright, lying or making up stuff or avoiding facts. So, what is the question? I mean, what's the question? If you want to debate, what's the question? I mean, because the bottom line is, if we don't want, nobody to stand their ground or use self-defense, I just hope that we all learn from this and teach the kids to keep their hands to themselves, because self-defense is self-defense for the most part, and stand your ground in Texas is real. It's real. I mean, and it's going to be, it's not easy. Like he said, and I don't think he likes the stand your ground because it's separate. Oh, okay. Never felt his life was in danger. Who was angry? Oh, you talking about Zimmerman? Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, that wasn't self-defense. It was just an opportunity. It was just an opportunity to mess with him. I think he may have thought that he was doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing, but that it still wasn't his place. It was not his place, and he provoked it. But everything they trying to make it seem like, well, if Carmelo Anthony said, touch me and see, he's provoking it. No, what Zimmerman did to me, well, that's to me Zimmerman did. I don't know who you're talking about. He wasn't he was angry because he was being challenged. Who was being challenged? Austin? I mean, who? I don't think that Carmelo was angry because he was being challenged. I think that Austin and Hunter was more angry for being challenged. But I think that the aggression that they're trying to put on Carmelo is the aggression that came from Carmelo right to be under the tent, where other kids were under the tent. And if you call Frisco ISD right now, they would tell you that Carmelo, there was not a problem that he was up under that tent. If you call them, I'm telling you, if you call the superintendent, you call anybody at that school right now, and they would tell you that there should have never been a confrontation about being up under that tent. and to be forced out of it was should have been in the rule book. I mean, it's just the bottom line. I agree. They felt some type of way by being challenged by the little. At 130 some pounds, he was considered little. A little black boy that I'm sure, I'm almost positive the words that came out of their mouth wasn't that Carmelo Anthony was just being, what word did he say? The verbiage that he was using, it came from them before it came from him. I'm willing to bet you from that. Yeah, I agree. Trayvon was racially profiled, and because he got the butt end of that whooping, he shot him. He shot and killed him. But he was looking to kill somebody that night. Because are we not gonna say the same thing? Why was you walking around in the dark with a gun? Did you go looking to have to shoot somebody? I mean, why else would you have a gun? I mean, ain't that how they questioned Carmelo? Oh, it was premeditated. It wasn't premeditated that he was walking around stopping people who, for no reason, looking to shoot somebody. If you scared the little black kids, why would you stop them in the middle of the night? Oh, because you had a gun. If you didn't have that gun, would you have stopped him? No. So, we could very well say it was premeditated. But the problem with that is they made excuses for it because it was removing a black kid off. So it was population control for them. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. I wasn't supposed to say it like that. Oh, cause that's what this aggression is, and how dare, and then y'all, baby, cause that energy here is not the energy dropping them gems he dropped earlier today. Oh, but he was hot. He was still hot because it was black and white.
So, like many states, Texas, in effect, divides use of force, the legal justification for the use of force against another person, into two buckets. First, what's required for you to be justified in using just non-deadly force in self-defense? Your hands, pepper spray, something, force that is unlikely to cause death or serious bodily injury. And that law, the non-deadly defensive force law, is Texas Penal Code Section 9.31, entitled simply self-defense. Then they have a separate statute with the additional requirements needed to justify the use of deadly defensive force, and that is found in the next sequential Texas Penal Code, and that is Texas Penal Code 9.32, deadly force in defense of persons. But you'll notice the first condition that you have to satisfy to be justified in the use of deadly force in defense of persons under Section 9.32 is you first have to satisfy the conditions for using any force in self-defense under 9.31, the non-deadly force statute. So we're going to start there. Let me go back to 9.31.
Now watch him come up with all these reasons why.
These are not the complete statutes. They're longer than this, but these are the relevant.
He gonna say it was mutual combat.
That we're considering here.
You crazy. This is funny to me. Look at him.
When can you use merely non-deadly force in self-defense? So a person is justified in using force against another when and to the degree they reasonably believe the force is immediately necessary to protect against the other's use of unlawful force. Now, if you've heard me talk about this stuff before, you'll recognize in this what I refer to as the 5 elements of self-defense: innocence, imminence, proportionality, avoidance, and reasonableness. These are the building blocks of any claim of self-defense in any state. There are not 500 elements of a self-defense claim. There's not 50 elements. There's only 5, and only up to 5. Not all 5 are always required. They're not all required here. But if we think about those elements, innocence means you were the innocent victim of unlawful force. Imminence means that it's necessary for you to defend yourself in the moment, right now. Proportionality has to do with how much force you can use, only non-deadly, or can you use deadly defensive force? Avoidance has to do with whether or not there's a legal duty to retreat. And reasonableness means you have to have perceived and made your decisions in a reasonable way. Not out of bare fear, not speculative, not imaginative. You applied your powers of reason to the facts before you. We see all that here, right? You're defending yourself against an unlawful force. That's the element of innocence, that you're the victim of an unlawful use of force, not, for example, a lawful arrest, which often involves a lawful use of force. That the attack you're defending against is occurring right now. The element of imminence, well, you have to be defending yourself using defensive force when it's immediately necessary. That's the element of imminence. The element of proportionality is built into this statutory framework, right? One statute for non-deadly force, a second statute for deadly force. That's the element of proportionality.
Yeah, I remember he's saying all this, but Texas has to stand your ground.
The element of avoidance is not relevant here because Texas is a stand your ground state.
Oh, okay.
It does not have a generalized legal duty to retreat before you can use force in self-defense. That's what the element of avoidance requires. Not only is Texas a stand your ground state, they're what I refer to as a hard stand your ground state. The jury is not even allowed to consider the possibility of retreat in evaluating your use of defense.
What? What'd he say? Hello? The jury can't even hear it. Huh? So he don't. So he can feel like he being threatened. He don't have to try to run. He don't have to, huh? And it's hard. It's a hard stand your ground. It can't. They can't know nothing about it. You can't try to present it. You can't none of that. They don't. He didn't have to. Huh? So you said all that aggressive stuff to say what? Huh? Oh, that was 2 weeks ago. Oh, you done learned some more since then. Oh, you done a little more research. Oh, it wasn't clear then, but it's clear now. I can see clearly now. The smoke is gone. Yeah. You can see clear. Can you hear me now? He had every right. Huh? He talking about reasonable in the law with lethal force. In Texas, stand your ground. You can use that deadly force. Stand your ground. It's different than self-defense. He does not like Texas stand your ground. He is running through all of this self-defense. There's another element to it in Texas, and it's stand your ground. It was added to. I already know this, Brandon. Cause this was 2 weeks ago. Did you not hear him? That was 2 weeks ago. 2 days ago, I just played it. Was you here? Was you here? Was you here? Brandon, was you here, baby? They're not even allowed to hear it. 2 weeks ago. That was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. 2 days ago. He a whole different person. So I need for you to hear what he said 2 days ago about these laws. Let me back that thing up. Why don't you back that thing up? I'm swerving my hips for you. Back that thing up.
That's me.
I love it.
New vacation.
I love it.
Newly expanded business.
That man right there. I want you to listen.
Actually,
I want you to listen with your good ear.
Wells Fargo Premier Team. Ready to meet the dream team? You can.
I want you to listen with your good ear. That Texas law got him on the ropes, baby. Got him on the ropes. Got him on the ropes. Got him on the ropes. Got him on the ropes.
Where they're going to imprison, I'm sorry, the jury is going to side with whatever the left is, and the rioters will not be imprisoned or face justice.
The question again is, did you have a reasonable perception that you were facing an imminent threat of unlawful deadly force harm? If the answer...
Do we agree this is the same guy? This is the same guy, right? That's him. 2 weeks ago. This is him. Two days ago. He said, y'all are asking the wrong question.
So that is yes, you can use deadly force in self-defense, and there's an infinite number of ways that can...
Hold on.
The jury is going to side with whatever the left is, and the rioters will not be imprisoned or face justice.
The question again is, did you have a reasonable perception that you were facing an imminent threat of unlawful deadly force harm? If the answer to that is yes, you can use deadly force in self-defense, and there's an infinite number of ways that can happen. If someone just grabs you, are they grabbing you and they have a knife in their other hand? Because that's going to be a bad day for you. Are they grabbing you and they're 200 pounds heavier than you? Bad day for you. That could well be a deadly force threat.
What if they grab you and there's 5 guys all around you.
Sure, then there's a disparity of numbers. Then it's the force of the collective group that's threatening you, not just one individual.
What if they don't touch you at all? Are there circumstances where deadly force is
Yes.
Hold on. If they don't touch you at all, can you have deadly force if somebody don't touch you at all?
Comes up to me and opens up their jacket and says, "Give me your wallet."
Listen with your good ear.
They haven't touched me. I don't have to suffer a scratch before I can defend myself. I
don't have to suffer a scratch. That's the same man.
myself against the threat that's about to occur.
What? The threat that's about. Not that is occurring. That is about. It's the why. Yes, if you don't touch you at all, that's reason. No, he's saying before the thought. Imminent. When I feel, there we go. Look at LP. When I feel there is imminent danger. It don't have to be happening. I feel it. I feel like I'm gonna be in danger. Hello. That's the same man, ain't it? 2 weeks ago, he was very aggressive with it. He done some research since then. When I feel there is imminent danger. I'm trying to tell y'all, it's the person who is being threatened. Nobody can tell that person how they feel. 2-on-1. Austin is 200 and some pounds to his 100 plus Hunter. Somebody's telling you what they gonna do to you. Well, I'm telling you right now. 2-on-1. He a linebacker. I'm 130 pounds wet. He said that if I don't leave, he grabbed my bag. Before I go in my bag, he grabs it and chunk my bag. That's robbery. In Texas, they say that's robbery. So you done already shown what you plan to do because you grabbed my bag. You forcing me out. I'm in danger. Yes. I believe that you're going to do everything that you say you're going to do. You're going to do everything I've asked you not to do. I've asked you not to touch me, you did. I asked you not to do this, and you did. So why would I not feel in danger? Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, he said, feel. Yeah. Don't nobody go in their bag. After saying, don't touch me, don't do this, and you still insist on doing it? Shit. Come on. You don't have to be 17 right now. At my age, if I tell you don't touch me and you touch me, if I tell you don't back up and you don't, I feel like you have intentions on harming me. Why else would you put your hands on me? Why else would you do everything I've asked you not to do? Yeah, I would go as far as to say, especially if I don't know you, that it's personal. Why else are you putting your hands on me? Again, because if you call Frisco ISD Monday and ask them, is it your pilot? That's what they say in Texas. 'Cause if you call DI, Frisco ISD Monday and ask them, is it your pilot? That's what they say in Texas. 'Cause if you call DI, Frisco ISD Monday and ask them, is it your pilot? That's what they say in Texas. 'Cause if you call DI, Frisco ISD Monday and ask them, is it your pilot? That's what they say in Texas. 'Cause if you call DI, Frisco ISD Monday and ask them, is it your pilot? That's what they say in Texas. 'Cause if you call DI, Frisco ISD Monday and ask them, is it your pilot? That's what they say in Texas. 'Cause if you call DI, Frisco ISD Monday and ask them, is it your pilot? That's what they say in Texas. 'Cause if you call DI, Frisco ISD Monday and ask them, is it your pilot? That's what they say in Texas. 'Cause if you call DI, Frisco ISD Monday and ask them, is it your pilot? That's what they say in Texas. 'Cause if you call DI, Frisco ISD Monday No, okay, so Brandon, yeah, you want, I don't want to just to debate just to go opposite. I don't want to do that devil advocate stuff. That I don't want to do that with you. So if this is what you're talking about debate, then no. Because every time I say something, you add something else to it. Robbery without a deadly. I'm telling you, the child he felt threatened. So you cannot say without a threat of deadly force you can't do that. When somebody goes and get a weapon, they're threatened. Yes, because they said that in Texas, when he grabbed his property, that is considered robbery. I didn't say that. That's what they say the law is. When you grab someone's property, so when he picked up his property and grabbed it, they said that it's robbery. And we didn't know that he grabbed it until Hunter said he grabbed it. We didn't know that it elevated when Austin got involved. Hunter told us that. So you're debating stuff that Hunter done already told us. See, that's not debating with me. That's not a debate. There's nothing to my, well, I don't know. Well, if Hunter said it got aggressive, why would I assume he said once Austin took over, Austin did do what Austin do, and it elevated from where it was with him. So Austin amped it up, grabbed his property. I don't know how friendly it was that he gave it to him, but he picked up his property. They say, the law say, when he grabbed his property, that's robbery. Hunter said it was already aggressive. He grabbed his bag. That's his property. Hunter said Austin grabbed his bag. He grabbed Carmelo's bag. Oh, Bye, Blitz. Don't come in here asking who is Hunter. I mean, if you don't know who Hunter is, stop that. So now I don't want to do this, Brandon, when you say a debate. You just want to disagree with me to find flaws in what has already been put out. Okay, bye, Brandon. I'm not going to do this with you. You see how they do, y'all? You know, they try to find loopholes. They move the goal. Well, what did he do with the bag? It don't matter what he did with the bag. It don't matter what he did with the bag. Keep your hands to yourself. Just the bottom line. Nobody wants to keep their hands to themselves. They want to justify Hunter and Austin initiating it. So that's why I always go back to, because they don't want Austin and Hunter to be the aggressors. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. You're trying to justify them starting it. Okay. Carmelo's bag was part of his it was his property. You cannot grab other people's property. First of all, even in itself, that was aggression. That was before the knife came out. So when these people are trying to create these narratives, they are bypassing that. That's why I respect his honesty now. You know, because over there 2 weeks ago, he was coming with a whole different flavor, baby. Woo-wee. Yeah, let me speed it up where he comes in again and breaks it on down. Yes, indeed. You can best believe I ain't gonna lose this one.
Get up to 20% off your purchase.
Hold on.
It was a neighbor that said, well, they got a temporary tag on a thing, so they just bought this new vehicle. It's like, wow. Most of this stuff, completely unreliable sources, and it's
the friends and family sale
Oh,
is on now
Lord.
at Raymore and Flanagan. Get up to 20% off your purchase.
Starting tomorrow, this simple water hack can change your life. You may not know this, but the
most of this stuff, completely unreliable sources, and it's caused narratives. And this is why, I mean, if you watch the interview that the mom did the other day, she addressed some of these things in it, which is just like there's false narratives that are running rampant.
Is that the same one that the victim's father showed up to?
Yes.
Brilliant move.
It's crazy.
He showed up. It was absolutely brilliant. I think it kind of shows the circumstance of, people coming after the family and saying, like, well, he had no duty to retreat. He could have sat there the entire time. This guy was getting accosted because he sat underneath the tent. Oh, dad shows up to a place that seems like it's open to the public. Then now it's inappropriate for him to be somewhere where he has the legal right to be. Oh, my God.
He don't have the legal right.
It's crazy. It's almost like dad did that on
The
purpose.
stabbing was justified.
Let's clarify. There are a lot of things
It was
that I've seen online
justified.
where people are so
In
adamant
Texas.
to adjudicate this case before we've gone to trial.
In Texas. Brandon, do you live in Texas? Do you live in Texas? Y'all get my likes up. Get my likes up.
That they have said things that are incorrect as it pertains to self-defense. I've seen people say things like, you can't use lethal force if someone is simply grabbing you. They say things like, you can't use lethal force unless you've been touched. I've seen things like, you can't use lethal force unless you are facing explicit lethal force. And there's caveats to all of these things. So I asked the lawyer himself, are there circumstances where being grabbed, in any scenario, like you can imagine one, where
Okay, so y'all, when y'all hear this, please don't come back and make excuses. Please. Please don't. Especially if you don't live in Texas. Please.
force would be justifiable self-defense.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone's asking the wrong question, or
everybody's asking the wrong question. Everybody asking the wrong. So if they're asking the wrong question, then that means that their perception is wrong. And the law has nothing to do with how you feel.
Are there circumstances where being grabbed, in any scenario, like you can imagine one, where lethal force would be justifiable self-defense?
Absolutely. I mean, everyone's asking the wrong question or answering the wrong question. The question again is, did you have a reasonable perception that you were facing an imminent threat of unlawful deadly force harm? If the answer to that is yes, you can use deadly force in question or answering the wrong question. The question again is, did you have a reasonable perception that you were facing an imminent threat of unlawful deadly force harm? If the answer to that is yes, you can use deadly force in self-defense. And there's an infinite number of ways that can happen. If someone just grabs you, are they grabbing force harm? If the answer to that is yes, you can use deadly force in self-defense.
All of these things. So
that you were facing an imminent threat of unlawful deadly force harm. If the answer to that is yes, you can use deadly force in self-defense. And there's an infinite number of ways that can happen. If someone just grabs you, are they grabbing you and they have a knife in their other hand? Because that's going to be a bad day for you. Are they grabbing you and they're 200 pounds heavier than you? Bad day for you. That could well be a deadly force threat.
What if they grab you and there's 5 guys all around you.
Sure, then there's a disparity of numbers. Then it's the force of the collective group that's threatening you, not just one individual.
What if they don't touch you at all? Are there circumstances where deadly force is used?
Yes, of course. If someone comes up to me and opens up their jacket and says, "Give me your wallet," and they show a gun, they haven't touched me. I don't have to suffer a scratch before I can defend myself. I can defend myself against the threat that's about to occur. It's an imminent threat that you're defending yourself against. In fact, if some guy runs up and punches you and then he runs away, you can't use force against that guy. The punch is over. The attack's over. That would be vengeance after that.
What if he stabs you and runs away? Same thing?
Same thing.
What if he stabs you and runs away? Same thing. It's how, if a person feels like their life is in danger, if they feel like what you say that you're going to do is going to cause bodily harm, if the threats that come out of your mouth makes me feel threatened, I have the right. You a bigger person than me, and your brother is right there, and you're grabbing my property and chunking my property at me, telling me to get on. Yes, I can use deadly force because you're threatening me. Keep your hands to yourself. Do not threaten to do nothing to somebody. You can't come back and say, "Well, I didn't mean it like that. I was just playing. I was just trying to scare a person. I was just," okay. Oh, you did just that. Carmelo Anthony said in the beginning it was self-defense. Carmelo Anthony said in the beginning he put his hands on him. Not only did Carmelo say that, Hunter said it too. So it is what it is. I don't have to debate that. It's the perception. If you perceive the person who, if I feel threatened, it's a threat. What Hunter don't want to say is what Austin said when he said that it elevated. It escalated. Okay, y'all, I'm finna get up out of here. I'm back, restroom break. Okay, I'm finna go, LP. My light's not up. Y'all have a good night.